Since the death of George Floyd in March of 2020, the country has been set ablaze with debates surrounding the American justice system and sentiments regarding systemic racism within culture and law.
Now, after one school board meeting turned into an evening of pandemonium, these political and cultural battles have moved to public school systems around the country.
I'm Tyler Fedor.
And I'm Carlin. You're listening to In the Loop with SGTV News 4. This podcast is a part of Garnet Media Group's podcast network. Garnet Media Group is the collective partnership between student-run media outlets at the University of South Carolina. Find out more about Garnet Media Group's podcasts and other student work on garnetmedia.org.
Conservative and liberal groups have gone toe-to-toe through both in-person and online movements throughout the past year, debating widespread police reform, immigration, racial injustice, and now critical race theory in educational institutions in the United States, ramping up after one Virginia school board meeting went viral.
Also, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott announced his reelection campaign Monday, going for another 6 years in the Senate.
And interim president of UofSC Harris Pastides is expected to release the report of the Title IX task force, as well as his response to it later this week.
Stick with us, we'll keep you in the loop. The small county of Loudoun in Virginia has been the source of big topical news and debates amidst a school board meeting that turned chaotic last week.
During the school board session meant to round out the academic year, conservative parents and community members flooded the auditorium and gave testimonies accusing the district of teaching students that racism in the United States is systemic, which the Loudoun County School Board reportedly denied.
While the evening itself was unexpectedly agitated by the protests of parents saying things such as "you don't end racism by teaching it," the outburst from community members has led to an increasingly prevalent debate on critical race theory and how it is integrated into public school curriculums around the country.
Critical race theory, in a nonpartisan context, is the belief that legal institutions, particularly in the United States, are inherently racist and leave people of color disadvantaged. In the classroom, critical race theory is a potential form of teaching students about historically racist practices like slavery, Jim Crow laws, and segregation, but could also serve to teach that America is structurally racist.
Critical race theory has now become a cultural and political battle on the national scale, with former Vice President Mike Pence calling it state-sponsored and state-sanctioned racism. In South Carolina, debate around critical race theory has also been sparked in state legislature. Representative Ralph Norman tweeting recently that critical race theory is wildly inappropriate and rooted in Marxism. SGTV News 4 reporter Callista Yost joins us now to speak more about the issue within the state. Callista, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great, Finn. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So critical race theory has really been a term thrown around everywhere within the past week, and more so in the past year. But where exactly did the term come from, and how did it become such a hot topic?
Well, according to the American Bar Association, the term's been around since the 70s or the 80s, but we've really started to hear it with the release of the New York Times 1619 project that really explored how American slavery affects life today.
Right, so critical race theory is, of course, a hot-button term right now, and many scholars and academic sources even are finding it difficult to provide an actual definition to it as debates are heating up over implementing it into public school curriculums. So how exactly are conservative and liberal groups defining it, especially after what happened in Loudoun County this past week?
Conservative groups, especially those pulled in that Loudoun County School Board meeting, believe it's more of a way to just teach students to be really ashamed of their skin color. That was actually what Vice President Mike Pence said about it. He also said it was state-sanctioned racism. But on the other camp, liberals groups see it as a new lens to look at this historically racist practice and apply those teachings to our country today and really work to end systemic racism in our country.
Right, and the subject of race, especially in schools, has always been a bit of a tricky topic since different regions tend to have different ways of teaching this piece of American history to their students. So what does critical race theory look like in South Carolina schools?
Well, as of right now, Finn, you don't see it in South Carolina schools, especially K through 12. There is no mention of critical race theory in any K through 12 curriculum in South Carolina schools, and State Superintendent Molly Spearman has said that they do not intend to add it. But in the university level, at the University of South Carolina and Clemson University, it is taught in school, and South Carolina lawmakers are calling for an immediate end to the teaching of critical race theory.
Callista, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
U.S. Senator for South Carolina Tim Scott made stops around the state Monday as he announced his last Senate run.
Scott was first elected to the Charleston County Council in 1995. After some time in the South Carolina and United States House, he entered the United States Senate in 2013.
During his stops, Scott said he hopes Republicans can build on the good old days, referencing the time of the Trump administration.
Scott will see challenges from Democrats Crystal Matthews, a state representative, and Angela Getter, chairwoman for the Spartanburg County Democratic Party.
Scott is the favorite in this race as he is running in a heavily Republican state, and alongside the fact that Senator Lindsey Graham beat his opponent, Democrat Jamie Harrison, by 10 percentage points, despite Harrison's record-breaking fundraising.
The South Carolina gubernatorial election will come to a head on November 8, 2022.
The Title IX task force was created by former university president Bob Caslen, but the responsibility of it is now being picked up by interim president Harris Pastides.
Pastides said he would continue to work with the Title IX task force, which is charged with performing a full review of USC's systems of handling sexual violence and the efficiency of these systems.
According to an email sent to the Board of Trustees on June 23rd, Pastides said he is reviewing the report and plans to release it and his response later this week.
The Title IX task force began its work on March 15th of this year and was included alongside other actions Caslen said the university would be taking regarding sexual violence. Fourth of July weekend is finally upon us, and if you don't have any travel or stay-at-home celebration plans, fear not, because we have some ways for you to get out in Columbia and enjoy local festivities.
That's right, but not only are there fun events happening on Independence Day, there are some great things going on to build up to a great weekend here in the capital city, starting with the free First Thursday at the Columbia Museum of Art. That'll be Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and located at the Columbia Museum of Art off Main Street with extended hours and free admission. No money, no charge. Love to hear that as a college student. Anyone, honestly, I feel like not having to pay for anything is pretty neat.
Yeah, and as you said, being a college student, we tend to be pretty broke out here, so it's going to be very nice to be able to get into the Columbia Museum of Art all day, actually, and the extended hours are provided as a courtesy from the Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina, so thanks to them for that, but also free admission. It's going to be, very, very nice to be able to get into somewhere that's normally a little bit higher on the price range and a little bit out of our budget all day. And I personally love going to art museums and looking at what they have to offer, especially modern art museums. I went to the the Modern Art Museum in New York City, and that place is absolutely ginormous. It's absolutely wild, but the creativity that some people have to create these beautiful works of art is quite incredible to me. But speaking of works of art, there is also going to be a blues fest at Seeger Park this weekend. Not going to be on July 4th quite yet, but on Friday, July 12th. And the doors are going to be opening at 5 p.m. It's located at Seeger Baseball Park, and the admission is $50. So again, not too terribly bad, but it's going to be an all-night event where a bunch of local bands are going to be coming to perform blues right there at Seeger Park. They're going to have music, they're going to have food, and a lot of people are going to be coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd like to add some blues in my playlist. I'd like to have some of those smooth tunes. July 2nd, right?
Yeah, it's July 2nd. But yeah, I love blues music. I love jazz music especially because blues can take on multiple forms, but I'm a huge fan of jazz. And I know that there are going to be some local jazz groups that are going to be coming to Seeger Park in order to perform. And I am going to be in Charleston this weekend, but I might have to swing through in order to experience that before I head there because I'm going for Saturday and for the 4th. So I might have to swing through that night, even though it's $50 admission, which is admittedly a little bit pricey. I think it's going to be worth it for that experience that you're going to get. Just seeing, local artists play at a huge open venue, which is, of course, harder to see now. We've seen these COLA concerts that have come through the city, but there still has been of course, lack of, public open concerts as a result of the pandemic. And so, now that people are getting vaccinated more and we're starting to return to a bit more of a sense of normalcy, this is definitely going to be one for the books, I think.
Yeah, it's always good to have the local in-person music coming back. Love me some good tunes. And on July 4th, if you don't got any plans, you got your tunes in, you got your art museum in, you got a 4th of July barbecue buffet located at the main course off of Main Street. Essentially, they're turning their restaurant into a giant barbecue buffet for the 4th of July from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can make reservations online if you want to plan ahead, of course, at maincoursesc.com. I do like me some barbecue. I really do.
What I think is pretty unique about this is I thought there might be, an extra fee tacked on for the purposes of their, changing up their entire layout of their restaurant just for this one day to be a buffet. But you essentially can make a reservation, or you can go in person and, go ahead and just snag a table if you're lucky. But you'll be able to just go get a plate of food and then just pay for what you eat. And it's really that simple, which I think is really unique. And I think especially for, the city of Columbia that doesn't have many buffet places, one that's going to be, just for the 4th right on Main Street, very accessible to people around the city. I think it's going to be really neat. Now, even though it's going to be a nice week here in the capital city to get out and enjoy those fun events, especially that 4th of July barbecue buffet going from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the main course this Sunday, what's not going to be too terribly nice is that on Friday we're going to have a 50% chance of thunderstorms, and then on Saturday we are going to have a 40% chance of rain. Now, the high today is 91 and the low today is 72. That's going to be pretty consistent throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend, except on Sunday the high will be 86 and the low will be 66. So about a 20-degree margin there for your 4th of July day, but it's going to be consistently warm and it is going to be sunny as well on that 4th of July day. So great day to get out and enjoy some festivities, whether they are local, getting together with friends. It's going to be a great day here in Columbia to go out and do it all. Now, in the stock market, the Dow Jones Industrial Average increased by less than the point, as well as the Nasdaq increasing by less than a point, and the S&P 500 also increasing by less than a point. Keeping you in the loop, I'm Ben Carlin.
And I'm Tyler Fedor.
You're listening to SGTV News 4. Join us next week to stay in the loop.